So let's talk about this kind of a new revelation that comes out in the book, and that's regarding he basically, I mean, he tries to cause a miscarriage by giving Shanann OxyContin. And I thought I knew this case, but I don't remember ever seeing that information before. So this is new, is it not?
It was new for me.
Okay.
In fact, in the very beginning, when he was telling me about that, I was confused, and I'm like, I didn't hear that story. Christopher, tell me about that. So the first time he told me he gave it to her 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
Once at her parents' house, and then the second time the morning of the murders. But then later he said, no, I just gave it to her once.
Yeah.
So all of that was new information for me. I think others have heard it. I don't know how they heard it, but I didn't know it.
Did he clarify? I don't recall reading that, and it's possible, if somebody has a page site or something, I just don't recall that ever being said.
Yeah.
And I mean, so what's his final answer? It was a one time that he gave it to her, or the second time when he, the night or the morning before she was killed?
Well, the last time that he told me, he said, no, he only gave it to her once. So I don't know. Is it in the autopsy?
Well, no,
that she had, because he makes a comment that it was in the autopsy.
Yeah. So I read that, and he had said that he had given her OxyContin the morning of, and he says, and that's why it was in the autopsy report. And I went back and pulled a copy of the autopsy report that I got straight from the coroner in this particular case. And the toxicology reports from spleen blood was the ethanol and then the blood alcohol concentration. There's no workup whatsoever in the workup relating to OxyContin, which would have had a presence for some sort of opioid or benzoid kind of thing, and and then I went back to the autopsy for the girls as well, and all the toxicology in their reports was everything that you find in gasoline, which would make sense because, or the crude oil, because they were retrieved from those tanks. There's benzene, ethyl benzene, toluene, exolenes, hexane, methamphetamine. And I looked all those up before, and it's all stuff that's in petroleum products. So it's not there. So I don't know if maybe he read it somewhere, maybe he was hoping that would come, or maybe he thinks it helps him look better. But that statement's certainly not corroborated by the autopsy.
Right. And he told me, and I did not put this in the book because I could not find any proof of it, but he says that there was an extension to the autopsies of all 3, Shanann, the 2 girls, that was not released. And I would have no way of knowing how to get that information if that's true. And why they would not release all of it.
Yeah, well, now I'm intrigued because, when we spoke with the coroner's office and we had the release, this was what was released. I went one step further and tried to request everything, the autopsy notes, photos, and everything like that, and they just flat out refused giving those to me. And I would think any of the other toxicology reports, if something had come back further, that would have been released. I mean, there was nothing about that. But now I'm intrigued, and now Monday morning, we're going to have to follow up on that. So we'll see if there's a supplemental to it. The other thing, go ahead.
Also, he told me that one of the conditions for his plea deal was that he would seal the girls' medical records, and that no one could ever look into the medical records again. Do you know?
No, and there was a filing early on where the attorneys for Chris Watts filed something to the effect with the court that it sounds like they were in possession of some sort of medical records. Now, if there was something like that, that would have to have been on the record because that was part of the agreement. Now, most people aren't going to be able to get a medical record for anyone prior to all of this incident relating to them because of HIPAA laws. But the coroner's report is considered a public record. So other reports, medical records, no one. I don't see how anybody could get those.
Okay.
So, but as far as being part of the plea deal, that would have had to have been on the record with the court if it was going to be something that was binding for that. So.
Okay. And again, that's why I didn't put it in the book, because unless I know it's fact, I didn't want to put it there.
I understand.
So,